This week's guest is presented to you by Bertarelli Cutlery. Marco Bertarelli at Bertarelli Cutlery has been in the knife sharpening business for decades. It's a family-owned business straight from the mother country of Italy. Marco is a dear friend, and they've been a partner with Illinois Recovery Center and offering second chance jobs for folks that are leaving treatment and looking for work. Please check them out at bertarellico.com. That's BERTARELLICO.com. And you can always find them and their retail store at 1927 Marconi Avenue on the Hill in St. Louis, Missouri. bertarellicutlery.com.
I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. I'll react if I had to. Put some things in the past too, and don't let them distract you, but react if you have to. Yeah. React if you have to. Yeah. Don't know the time, yeah. Just know that I'm, yeah, one of a kind, yeah. What's on your mind, yeah. What hard to find, yeah. Beautiful mind, yeah. Still in my prime, yeah. Just know that I'm here.
Yeah, here we go. Pondoff's Anonymous episode
14.
2 touchdowns. How's the viewership?
It's good,
do you
man.
look?
Yeah, sometimes we get thousands. Sometimes we get hundreds.
On the podcast or the reels?
On the podcast, on the video, on the YouTube,
Nice.
on the listens. Or at least I bet you we average 200.
That's pretty good. Way better than I thought.
Like on a view or a total download?
Like I don't really know how they measure it.
Is it? Are you doing all?
I'm talking about like iTunes and Spotify too.
Right. So is there a way to just through all platforms have like one number?
I have to go out and get them, but
Okay.
yeah, sort of.
And you said sometimes it's thousands?
Yeah, when
That's
that
awesome.
one with Megan got up into the 1,000, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we gotta tap into.
I mean,
her.
just on YouTube views, that one had 1,500 plus, which, you know, my 11-year-old will fucking chirp us for that. But
yeah, that's nothing compared to
Mr. Beast.
yeah.
But then you add up the other ways people listen. It's well over. Eric, thanks for joining us. That's Eric Conley's voice.
Yes, sir.
Are we recording right now?
We've been recording.
We're just talking shop here.
9 podcasts out of 10, you're over there finger fucking your phone.
Yeah, duty does call, though. That's a real thing.
You
I
trying
want to apologize in advance.
to run a treatment center or something?
Wrong guest here.
Yeah.
It's a big
Eric said the only way Jacob's allowed to do this is if he fucking keeps his eye on shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
No, well, we always joke about the only time things pop off is when you're shit and shower shaving.
Right.
Doing
There's
a
a couple
podcast.
other S words in there, too.
You mean this treatment industry is not 8 to 5, huh?
No, sir.
Did you want to talk about Saturday now, or is that an offline conversation?
No.
Okay, better not.
No, let me unpack that first. That's
Do we need to get a clinician in here for that conversation?
possibly, yeah.
You need to see it there.
That was I'm not going to debate you on that either, but that was one for the memories.
Okay.
Saturday. Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it, but we'll save that for what a tease that is.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, sorry, Jeff.
Blues hockey,
I know.
2-0 Manitoba Jets.
Are they done?
No,
No,
idiot.
no.
I don't know anything about hockey.
No shit.
Me either, Jeff.
Don't even say it. We look fucking good till like the third period.
Well, right.
Then we look tired as
60
shit.
minutes of hockey. I'll say what I've told some people about this Jets team is they're the one team since the New Jersey Devils of the mid-90s that can actually park a bus and play prevent defense and it be effective and fucking lock down. I'm usually, like, if we try to do it, we're up. They always say 2-goal lead's the most dangerous lead in hockey.
Right.
If we get a 2-goal lead and we just fucking pump the brakes and jerk off and try to play defense, we end up losing the game.
Right.
A lot of teams, though, not just us.
Oh, yeah. That's why I say it's the worst scores 2 up. So
I'll nerd out on hockey now if you guys will let me, but you probably don't want me to. Because next episode, we're going to have our buddy Cam on, former NHL enforcer.
Yeah.
Nice.
St. Louis Blues.
Speaking of nerd out, Jacob caught me feeling like what texture that was made out of. Is that in the camera shot?
Are you a texture guy?
Yeah, I was like, is that wood or plastic?
He's like
Goes to show you how much I care about hockey, Jeff.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. I mean, I want them to win. It's the Blues, naturally.
Yeah, of course.
playoffs, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always say after when 2019 was going on and we won, I was like, okay, I've scratched that itch. I'm gonna be cool as a cucumber every time we're in the playoffs, and it's fucking worse.
Right.
Like
Now we know we can do it.
I'm
you
like,
know?
I'm still pacing around the fucking house, screaming and yelling, beating my family, yelling at kicking the dogs.
Is this how the Cubs fans feel too?
Who cares?
I don't know. I would never know how to identify as one of those losers.
Yeah, so don't associate with those people.
So it's gonna hopefully the series will be tied 2-2 Monday night when we record with Cam.
That would be cool.
And we'll have a lot of hockey to talk about and some more stories. He's going to be remote, but he does want to come out again and do it live. He goes, Cam, he's like, I got fucking lots of content for you guys. Fuck it. I'll do it multiple times. It's all amped up.
Nice.
Before we get into this week's What the Fuckwa, what the FA, I do love that. What the fuck?
Yeah.
WTF, what the FAQ.
It fits us.
Let's get a little spiritual. How was Easter for everybody? Today is actually Wednesday after Easter. I had a nice Easter, if you're asking me, but just busy.
No, it was good. Low key.
Yeah, still.
I was
feeling
recovering
Saturday?
from Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, it was good.
Yeah, I didn't see you in the pew, so
yeah, flat tire.
I was recovering from Saturday too.
Different type of recovering,
Did you do
Joe?
any Easter?
No, I had a little birthday party the night before.
Oh, that's right. Your 40th.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you.
40. Look who's 40.
I saw you
Nice.
posted a video online of you being all fucked up. How fucked up did you get? Seriously.
I mean, I didn't
No
have a
judgment.
hangover. I didn't have a hangover.
Then
so.
you didn't have fun.
Yeah, no, I had fun. I stayed up until I wasn't drunk anymore.
Did you go to like a diner or something and crush it or what?
No, I stayed. So we had I had a little get together at Benny's with my family, and we had a bunch of wings catered.
Oh, nice.
And so there were a ton of leftovers.
There
So I
you
took
go.
them home and I had them in my, my arm like a baby.
Like a baby, right.
And Brittany went to bed because she was not even.
She doesn't care about chicken wings as much as you and I do, Jeff.
No. And so I'm sitting on the front porch, like trying to sober
Nice.
up, eating chicken wings and chucking them out in the yard.
I love it.
So hopefully she doesn't find any of that.
Dipping them on your wife beater.
I didn't bother.
So
Shout out to
happy
Benny's.
birthday.
Their wings are good.
I've never even had their pies.
They're-
I heard good
Never had
things. Who did you have any friends there?
Yeah, I had some friends. Yeah.
I won't ask you who.
Yeah, don't.
I didn't get the invite, so
Yeah, I know why I
Must be
did.
lost in my email.
yeah.
My wife was in charge of inviting people.
Yeah,
So now you know.
That's a good play,
other
Jeff.
topic we can't talk about. Plus, I don't want to end up I don't want to end up here as a fucking client.
Right.
To go down that rabbit hole. Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Mijofsky, I'll have to tell him you missed Easter because you were hungover.
Please do. That's the pastor at the gathering.
He's got to get new material. He had a good sermon.
Good.
Why
You
does
mentioned your
Why does
boy
he have
again.
to get new material?
He mentioned you again in the sermon.
Yeah, people are getting sick of hearing about me on Easter. But Eric, it was about hope in the darkness, and hope's your favorite word. And inspire you use it often and intentionally.
Absolutely.
And no, it was about it was just about it for a lot of people. Your worst day. What you think's your worst day can be the beginning of the rest of your life. We always say it's probably your best day, right? But he said that he was reflecting on something that I told him about that day I checked into rehab. Being just fucking, I thought it was
Hopeless.
the end of my life, man. And it was the first day of the rest of my life. Yeah, hopeless. And I did not. I mean, the next morning, God did something inside me, and I woke up, and that had shifted to hope, but it felt hopeless. Absolutely, yeah, 100%. And how that, and then in other life examples, your worst day, sometimes your darkest day, can be the first day of the rest of your life.
Well, it's interesting about that too is you learn so much from those darkest days.
Right.
My sister got me a portrait, or I wanted to say painting. It's not a painting, but basically in my office. You know, and here I'm trying to quote it, and I'm going to butcher the hell out of it, but
You get the gist.
yeah, you know, at the dark, I guess even during the darkest periods, you know, there is light, or next is light, or after the darkest periods, whatever. You get what the fuck I'm
Yeah, I
trying
know
to
what
say.
you mean.
But no, not to be cliche, but those are the moments we learn the most from.
And you see it. I mean, we talk about it all the time here. We see it every day here with people that are just checking in. I've mentioned it about someone's picture when they first the side by side check in and check out. It's
Kee-poo pictures.
Do you guys do that?
nice.
You guys do that?
Yeah.
That's
We get a
industry
picture
jargon.
of
That's
my
industry jargon right there.
Yeah.
Kee-poo pictures. I like that.
Yeah. Kee-poo for our 12 viewers is
We have hundreds.
Just
We
kidding.
just went over this.
We went through the numbers
kidding,
5
Chris.
minutes ago.
no, just kidding. It's our electronic medical records, EMR.
Good job, Eric.
Yeah. Put me on the spot.
I remember it.
It's a popular EMR platform too. All jokes aside.
So if anybody out there from Kee-poo is listening and wants to sponsor the
You just
podcast,
got him a plug.
Right.
send an email to Conley at IllinoisRecoveryCenter.com.
Do you have an Illinois Recovery Center email address?
I do.
Okay.
I feel like it does get used.
Because Kenny,
Does it?
Iggy always says your Illinois Recovery email address.
I get it, and I don't fall for the bullshit phishing. But I think I used to be on a lot more emails, and now it's just the birthday emails that I get. So every time there's a birthday, Jen sends a happy birthday, Brian sends a happy birthday, and Eric sends a happy birthday.
Yeah.
And then it like dies on the vine. I'm like, where the fuck is everybody else?
They don't hit reply all, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, you guys don't email as much. You guys use like
Teams.
Teams and
Microsoft Teams.
And then I got excluded from WhatsApp for asking about business cards.
Jeff, do you see a trend here?
Yeah, I do.
I'm gonna find you on the next app you get. And I'll make my way on, and then they'll migrate over. It's nice. I get it, but I do remember like everybody's hair was on fire that first week, and I was like, "Can you guys get me more business cards?"
Yeah. I think that's what
that's what got me.
Yeah.
That's what got me.
The whole
quietly
place is on fire, Jeff, and he interjects a mist of 30 texts back and forth to say like, "Yo, E, can I get more business cards, please?" I was like, "That's it. Remove them, Jacob. Pull plug."
Oh man.
Just caught up in excitement. So we're gonna try to do these every 6 to 8 weeks. These FAQ. So
Yeah.
I think they're important. I think they're real important coming from Jeff, who's not one of us, which is a compliment.
Yeah, thanks.
He's got a list of frequently asked questions or things that come up from squares.
And you guys have not seen any of these.
No, so we're going to do a little FAQ, have a little fun, bullshit a little bit tonight, and then land the plane. But I these episodes, the last one we did got a lot of really good feedback, so that's why we're probably going to just do it regularly. It gives Eric a chance to jump on, and his pretty face will drive up our YouTube views.
Yeah.
Hey.
Let's get him to take his shirt off for the
Yeah.
ladies.
Settle down,
There we go.
settle down.
For
It
some
is
of the
warm
dudes.
in here, Jeff. Thanks for setting the stage,
I
Jeff.
figured you haven't turned the AC on yet.
You can do that, and I'll take mine off and be like the Chippendales thing on Saturday Night Live.
That's funny. Eric's got a remote control. He can control every thermostat from his phone. He don't let nobody touch that motherfucker.
Yep. Well, it's funny too. It just played out this week, Jacob. Right? It goes back and forth between one client's cold, next client's hot, next staff's cold, staff's hot. So literally, it would be like the old days of playing Tetris. As much as the community wanted us to change the thermostat. So
Oh boy.
we've picked a number. It may or may not be a cost saving
Right.
situation as well, but
I bet it's in the mid 70s.
No, actually, I'm better than that. First year, it was mid 70s.
Yeah, you're right. No, I think you're more of it don't go up over 70 when it's 2 degrees outside, right?
No,
You're not a heat fan, but
No.
you appreciate AC more than you do.
absolutely.
You sound like my wife, dude. It's like 68 is the warmest you're gonna get in
Yeah.
the wintertime.
No, that's me, Jeff.
Yeah.
Molly, bless her heart, she's over there wearing a burqa, and she's got robes and comforters. There's like 13 comforters on our bed.
Wow.
Oh, it's
Then that's
terrible.
plenty. You don't need to.
Yeah.
What do you even have the heat on for? At that
Yeah,
point?
Right.
exactly.
As long as the pipes don't freeze, you're good.
Exactly. That's actually my mindset.
I figured.
It's not,
That's
not
your-
comfort
that's
level.
your-
It's the pipes won't freeze at this temperature. So
So yeah, this is fun. It's lighthearted. I know we've had a couple real heavy ones on. I know Becky's was. It's hard to fucking end on a positive note when you have a mother coming and talking about losing her son to this disease. And we, there is still, it's not in vain. There's a really cool nonprofit in Jordan's name. Talked to the guy that runs it last week. They're doing a lot of cool little things in their community. He's big in the Oxford House, which is sober living. Want to have him out here sometime, have him on the podcast, kind of pump them up. So yeah, but this will help us have a little bit of fun and, bring the mood a little bit back, but also try to help some people and families maybe that are thinking the shit that Jeff's going to be asking.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
it goes
Jeff.
back to
Yeah, go ahead.
Chris. When we conversate, when we talk about the field, there is a lot of the conversation we just had with a couple individuals before we came in here. It's a lot of dialogue takes place that we think everybody's aware of, but they're not.
Right, it could be a foreign language to
Yes. Yeah.
people, families of us,
Yeah.
or people that are listening to just learn. I mean, everybody's in our circle is touched by this shit. So I don't think we're a niche audience. We're shooting for a niche audience. Everybody could probably feel a little seen and heard. It's my pussy terms.
Well, I think the good news is I have questions here from all of those different areas.
Great.
So let's start with this one. This is one, speaking of Easter, I think that this one could be appropriate.
Reese's eggs,
Yes, Reese's eggs.
number one candy of all time.
Better than Cadbury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the question?
He was going to ask what the best Easter candy is.
Reese's eggs.
Reese's eggs.
Exactly,
Yeah.
100%. What if
20
I...
of those.
Yeah.
Dude, it's bad.
It's-
I mean,
yeah.
seriously, I
Christmas
get
trees are up
sued.
there too. They're
They're
close.
number 2.
Yeah. Yep.
Hearts are number 3.
Yep.
And,
Nice.
I mean, I could tell you all day.
Yeah.
I'm kind of chubby. Not that I have a chubby. I'm kind of.
Not currently.
Not currently.
All right, so this is... what if I don't believe in God? Can I still
Good
recover?
one. No, you fucking.
You heathen! Enjoy hell.
No. We'll just pray for you. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, like most programs out there aren't faith based whatsoever. Like even 12 steps are higher power, which is like you design just a power greater than you, which for me, like I came into the program not religious, not really heavily faith whatsoever. A lot more now than I was.
I was going to say,
I
are
don't
you
show up to
calling
church
yourself-
too much.
Are you calling yourself religious now? Because I sure fucking missed you the last 52 Sundays.
So like my higher power just really was like the group of like I do a 12-step program, so it was like the group, right? The program has spiritual principles that you want to guide your life by. So I'm always a big fan of like the AA acronym for God as like good orderly direction. That's all higher power is. It's just something to kind of guide us in like what's the next right thing. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I got clean, knowing right and wrong was very skewed. Like what I thought was right was usually the wrong choice, right? I always say like my first thought's wrong, second thought's wrong. And that's where a higher power comes in, kind of is to guide that thinking or action. So religion has a lot of benefit for a lot of people. Pondoff is one. Thank God for Pondoff finding God, but
Led me
you
to
don't
that
need
ass.
it. It's not a
Ashley.
requirement, you know.
You got something. You were shaking your head.
Well, it's when I came in, I had a problem with God.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I the only conversation, obviously, regards to communicating with God was, obviously when the cops showed up behind me or something tragic was about to unfold. all of a sudden I humbled up pretty quick to say my
Puking.
prayers, and
Real religious
Yeah.
when you puke.
just this one time, God, please, if you get me out of this, I'll never do it again, right?
Did you get
But-
out of it? Do it again.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. The police didn't even get out of the lot, and I was already, in the same mindset that got me jammed up.
Thanks, God. See ya.
Yeah. So, but my approach was, because of the lack of communication and me being resentful with my higher power, was him taking a lot of people out of my life. So I just hung around long enough to where I was open-minded and listened to individuals when they shared. And my higher power was really, it was my mom, right? So she wasn't around, obviously, already passed away. So my communication was, and my mindset was visualizing I was speaking with her. And, no different than if one of us is having a tough day and we have that conversation, a pep talk and, asking for advice. My conversation, obviously, with my higher power, once again, was me talking to my mom. Now, there's no conversating back, but, if you're aware and open-minded, you get to see those things that you were asking about or asking for a sign or being aware. And then it's funny, by just being aware, you can see how a higher power, whether it's God or what have you, plays a part in all of our lives.
Yeah. I hear to your, I can feel like that with my old man, and I can hear Tom fucking bitching at me about something, or everyone. We usually laugh and telling a joke or something, but to me, the higher power stuff for people that are, I think maybe atheist or agnostic, I don't know. There's a difference, I believe, but I don't know. The higher power is a practice that giving up control to something that's greater than you, that's bigger than you, and that is the liberation. I think that when you say I can't do this on my own, I need a higher power. Whatever works for you, and for me it was Jesus, but for others it can be just a lot of people say they're spiritual. I've heard Eric say that quite a bit.
Sure.
But I know people that say that they're super anti. The church has fucked over so many people. There's a lot of people that are tired of it. Addiction doesn't pick and choose. It doesn't care what your faith is, right? So I think adversely, anybody can beat it or get to recovery and sustainable recovery. The higher power practice is about letting go of bullshit control. And knowing that there's something bigger than you, getting you out of yourself, right? I think that's a big part of what the higher power message is.
So Jacob, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because one of the things I did was study a lot of recovery programs,
Right,
and all from completely atheist based, no higher power meetings whatsoever, to very religious based, to Satanist ones. There's a lot out there. And really, me and Chris, we talk about this all the time, the three things that everyone has in common. So I put those as the three staples you should have in your recovery program. It's just complete honesty, sharing with like-minded people, and abstinence. So higher power, God's not one of them. For me, higher power, I need it for my recovery, but it's not a requirement for recovery. So do you have to have God or higher power to have recovery? No. It doesn't hurt, but but you just gotta have the honesty, sharing with like-minded people, so other addicts in recovery, and abstinence. Don't use.
Right.
Sure. So to kind of throw this out there, what I've done with a couple of my sponsees and my sponsor before is, now I'm not, highly educated in religion and such forth, so I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. But a lot of the questions we ask ourselves, if we're struggling with believing in God, to kind of plant a seed just to get the individual to be open-minded.
Right. That's a good point.
Is asking, what I would say is this, give the example. Us as human beings, now I'm going to sound a little crazy for a moment, but all of us talk to ourselves, right?
Sure.
We've all talked with ourselves. And just in my situation, when I'm in active addiction or I'm struggling, I recall looking, in the mirror and saying, help me.
Yeah.
Or why me? And having those conversations by yourself.
Uh-huh.
So if you think about it, we're human beings. We don't have to speak that out loud, right? We could say that in our mind. So subconsciously, all of us do this and talk out loud.
Yeah.
Who are we talking to? Right? Even those individuals that don't believe in God speak out loud at one time or another have
Sure.
said, or had a, now I don't mean dialogue and conversating back and forth on
There's
that.
a line.
Yeah.
That's when they
But
need the clinician.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm not referencing that, but to get some of my sponsees to the point of them being open-minded was just food for thought on, okay, when you spoke out loud by yourself with no one around, who is it that you believe you're speaking to? It's not necessary to say it out loud. You can think it. So why would a human being put that out into the atmosphere? And I don't have the question. I don't have the answer to that. I have my answer to that, right? That's my higher power, subconsciously or what have you. I'm speaking that out in existence. So somebody, something, AKA Eric's higher power, can hear that and ensure that it's being heard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that's what I've done in the past. It's worked. Just to, like I said, not to prove there is God, but to introduce a situation or plant the seed to an individual that struggles with a higher power concept, the God concept.
That open-mindedness, though, is I think it's you have to have a level of humility to be open-minded and say to yourself, I don't fucking know it all. And so if you can get somebody to be open-minded about what you're talking about, Eric, it helps them be open-minded in other assets of their life.
Sure.
And it helps you listen more. I mean, I would say that, and this is coming from a big fucking talker. You guys know that. I mean, we're doing a fucking podcast for two. God gave us 2 ears and one mouth, right? But the open-mindedness helps you in other aspects of your life realize I don't know it all. And it sucks knowing it all. Let's get some help. Let's learn from people that have been down similar paths, and especially in this arena of battling addiction.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that the programs, and by participating in groups, which is very similar to the thing that I love about like following Jesus and doing the church shit, because in a healthy church, I think that's probably a pretty important disclaimer, is that it's all about service work. And whenever you're helping and serving others, it gets me, I say this often, outside of my own fucking head. So when I'm focusing on helping others and serving others or being generous, for just that period of time, I'm not stuck in between my own ears. Because when I'm stuck in between my own ears, I fucking stinking thinking all day long, man.
Yeah. It's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah, and it is a good question. I would also say that I bet we've all like sat around a table 20 years ago, high as fuck, and talked about this.
Yeah.
So now we're talking
Probably.
about sober.
Yeah. Well, this next question comes from a loved one of someone. And the question is, and Jacob, you might want to chime in on this one. How do I know if I'm helping or enabling?
Tight little rope there, but
It's a dangerous fine line.
Yeah.
it's a hard line to find, but like basically when you're holding back consequences, you're enabling.
Bingo.
You know what I mean? That's like the easiest way to say it. When you're bailing them out, making sure they're not having any consequences to actions.
It makes your
enabling
boundary worthless.
Right.
When you set up a boundary and someone crosses it and you don't enforce what your boundary was, you're enabling.
Doing the dry threats, yeah.
Right.
If you do
Sometimes-
something don't follow through with it, you're enabling.
Sometimes the consequences, that goes back to what we spoke about earlier. That's how we learn. There has to be consequences. So while some of them are unfortunate and hit hard, there has to be consequences for the opportunity for growth.
Bingo.
You know?
But enabling, I think, I don't know if it's called education, but let's use that. The education to, whether it's an Al-Anon or like Kevin Bunton was talking about it.
Mm.
You know, when it was just heroin, it was kick them out. It's harder now because of the one-hitter quitter deadly shit that's out there that we talked about with Becky and her son Jordan. So that's they used to be. I feel like the conversation yesterday before synthetic fentanyl was everywhere. It was don't shelter, don't feed, don't resource until they hit rock bottom. It just speeds up their bottom. But now that's changing a little bit, and I it's understand why. I mean, it's hard to. I always say as a guy that'll never be a mother that's had a great mom and knows the power of that. We talk about this often. How am I going to sit across from a table and tell a mom, don't enable your child? It's your instinct. Yeah. We tell them statistics say it's better chances of your child getting help or getting sober by following these steps, but it's not 100%. You're still gambling. So those are tough conversations. I think that I do advocate. I mean, there's some real obvious ones enabling that some people need some real help with. And you ask yourself, which is why we have a family program. Everybody's sick here. And I don't mean that as an insult. It's pretty common.
Cool.
And then one like rule of thumb, don't give cash. Just a heads up. You know, if they need money, I need food, I need gas. And you're going to be that mother, father, loved one or whatever that's going to do it, right? Because my mom was one. She would give me cash when I asked, I need cash for whatever. Until she learned, then like she still was going to give me gas and stuff like that, but she would go fill my tank. She wouldn't give me cash for it.
Deliver a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Bring me some groceries, you know, not just give me money to go buy food.
Yeah.
So there's ways to kind of like be that, because let's be real, mom's going to do it because she loves her kid. There's ways to do that's not enabling where you're feeding the addiction and still taking care of your loved one. So
if the pattern of behavior continues and I don't want to say always, but almost always escalates, it doesn't get better or fix itself because you stopped giving cash and started filling up a gas tank. I mean, I remember my mother would give me Aldi gift cards because they didn't sell booze. Well, I'd give the Aldi gift card to the guy that wants to shop at Aldi's for $20 for the $25 gift card for $20, and then I go buy a fifth of. Yeah. I mean, I was still hustling. I wasn't that fucking broke. But she thought she was doing. She thought she was like being
smart, right?
Pretty smart. Somebody told her, I think at Al-Anon, you're just freeing up the money to go buy whatever.
Yeah. Right. So, addict will always find a way. So,
pretty fucking like we always say this: the creativity of an addict in active addiction, I mean, could cure fucking cancer if they got sober.
Sure.
I mean, it is MacGyver ass shit.
Yep. If they just put that, if we figured out how to get laser focused with that energy, that intuition, that ambition, all of that, and put it to good, like you said, we laugh about it, but you can find a cure for cancer. Well, that's how creative and intelligent we are.
I remember when we would, even before we opened, you'd give tours and you would show the large group room and you would tell people that you've met some of the most creative human beings in this industry as clients, because once they're getting sober, they start to draw or play a fucking guitar or paint like Mozart. He's a music guy. Paint like Picasso. But it's really something. Yes. It is really fun.
There's an individual, and Jacob, you'll remember, at another facility we worked at, and she, the creativity she had with a pen and a pencil on what she was drawing was unbelievable. I walked down the hallway and she was sketching, and I can't even explain it. It was like jumping out of the paper, almost 3D. I don't even know if that's how you would say it, but it was unbelievable. And just that trade, or the creativity and the artistic capability that she had, she could guarantee it. If she wanted to go and make a career of that, she could. That's how good it was.
Did you ever tell her that? Or
yes, I was at a loss for words.
Really,
it was that good. It was incredible, and just as us addicts, alcoholics, we do, she had, self-worth issues.
Yeah.
Right. So she thought I was just being, oh, Eric, you're just being nice. No, I was not. And I was, but I was most sincere.
Yeah.
How she was. It was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And like I said, she didn't realize how talented she was. It was unbelievable.
I mean, you see artists suffer from this. I mean, we were talking to Dylan last week on, which is just released, who's in a band. But all through, musicians struggle with this shit all day long, and they're some of the most creative motherfuckers I've ever met. Didn't the one painter cut his fucking ear off or something?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get all Renaissance on you. Van Gogh.
Yep.
See? I'm worldly.
You are. Well, all right. This is a more practical question. And
throwing some hard ones at us out of the gate.
Yeah. This one's more practical. This is about coming to like a recovery center. What do I bring to rehab? And what am I not allowed to bring to rehab?
Drugs. Can't bring.
Can't bring drugs.
That's a big question because it really depends on the treatment center you're going to. Like there's not like the easiest ones to say you can't bring that's going to be universals like drugs, paraphernalia, stuff like that, obviously. But really, it's going to depend on the facility that you're going to.
Let's talk about this.
But still depends on the facility you're going to.
But it's important because
Chris held up a phone, by the way.
Well, everybody's on it. So,
but I would recommend not having a phone.
Yeah,
that's why we don't allow
phones
here.
Right.
Because,
this is a grayer area. We've had conversations about it because I know there's been people here, the people that have decided not to come here because of our cell phone policy.
Sure.
And I really think they do themselves a disservice. Not because they didn't just not come to IRC. I mean, that sounds cocky as fuck. I do believe in that. But they wanted to go to a place that would allow a cell phone. And you just want to talk about instant access to all your fucking triggers.
Yeah.
And it's distraction and go ahead.
I'm doing it now.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, we're
on a
addicted to the
podcast, and obviously it's work related, but you need the absolute disengagement of the cell phone. And in my recovery, God does for us what we can't do for ourselves. Right, I was hacked, and we just talked about that not too long ago.
Yeah, and
it was a blessing in disguise. Absolutely, at that moment when I was.
What were you? Describe what you mean by you were hacked.
Yeah, on my Facebook. I had Facebook early within the first 6 months, clean and sober, and
honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
like, I'm on Facebook. Look at me, guys. I'm healthy.
Right, got my weight up, was feeling good, and first thing us addicts,
posting
alcoholics,
abs
most of us, we want to jump on social media and rebrand ourselves. And I got hacked. And I was pissed off, so I couldn't log into my Facebook account. Somebody else had it, and kept it active, which was rubbing salt in the wounds. I'm like, that's not him. This is me, And, but it wound up being a blessing in disguise because the amount of time and energy we put in to just grabbing our phone 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, and cumulative, figure out how much of the day is absorbed by the cellular device, right? Yeah. Or any type of social media, is going to grab 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And it allowed me to take that time and allocate it somewhere else.
It like group learning. I mean, can you imagine right now if we walked over to detox and everybody had their cell phones?
Oh, it gets rid of like the fellowship side of everything. Like I've seen those facilities that, not bashing any facility, but I've seen facilities that allow phones where that's what all the clients do. They just get on their phones. That's what they're doing in their free time. They're not talking to they're not talking to each other. They're on TikTok or one thing, like when you come to truth, you have to be cut off from the outside world. Like you need that so you can focus on yourself. The whole point. And like we still allow you have visitation, stuff like that, phone calls, but then you have to only contact the people that you really care about when you're limited access to who you can contact. Mm-hmm. You're not contacting your so-called friend or whatever, somebody you don't really know that well. Not looking at all the drama, getting messages from people you don't want to.
Right.
You really need, I would say you need that cutoff. So.
When I checked in, I posted on Facebook, scariest day of my life. And then I didn't have my cell phone the entire time I was in there. And we had to use it was just an old phone in the middle, like up against a wall. And if people called you, they'd call the facility and leave you a message. You can call them back. You had like 15 minutes at the end of the night to call, but like you didn't have enough time to sit there and get in everybody's fucking gossip and shit. I was calling my mom. I was in treatment during April Fools, and I did call my real worried, nervous, and Nelly aunt, who's always been kind of a hard ass on me. I called her and told her that they found me and I pissed dirty for heroin from rehab.
I'm sure she was thrilled.
Oh, she was still pissed off about it. April Fools, it's all no holds barred.
Oh my God.
I'm nasty on April Fools. I mean, for all the reasons we listed, and also if people think that you're not going to come in here and be tempted to text someone to come get you, text someone to bring you drugs, text someone that you want to hook up with. I mean, that shit would happen before anything. I mean, that's real.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a safety concern. And, it just, once again, it allows you to take the time and allocate it elsewhere with some healthier avenues. And it's a complete and utter distraction. It's also pictures and me taking, pictures of someone else and putting it on Facebook. Oh, I'm in treatment with Jacob Miller.
Yeah, that's right. Huge problem.
Yeah, it's a violation. To be honest, any treatment program that allows that, they lose points, in my humble opinion, because any clinician in the world, I think, would advocate for it being a distraction and not conducive to one's well-being and their recovery. Now, you do need your cell phone or laptop to pay bills or, if it's work-related or school-related. So there are scenarios, but those.
And how does IRC handle that?
You put in a request to handle those particular things, and a staff member will allocate time and allow Jacob, the client, to pay the bills. Or
is there like a lockbox or something that people can leave their phone in and come and get it?
We inventory them, Jeff. When they come in, we inventory everybody's personal belongings. Obviously cash, what's in the wallet, cards, take pictures, store it in a safe. For each and everybody's individual safety box. And, if you need your cell phone during your tenure here at IRC, we'll get it. And, but one of the most dangerous times is when you turn your phone on because all those messages come back.
Yeah.
And now I'm speaking from when I was a client, it's a influx of emotion and you're like, oh my God, and such is life. Sometimes your drug dealer is, all of a sudden curious, and concerned about your well-being.
Where have you been?
Right? That's me being facetious, of course, but it's those messages where our
the revenue stream dried up for a couple weeks. What's going on?
So,
or you owe me money.
Yeah. When I went to treatment, an individual that I was getting heroin from messaged Molly, and
just to check on you,
just
what a
to
sweetheart.
check on Eric, right?
What a sweet guy. Or I'm assuming it was.
Yeah. But that, all joking aside, is a crucial time, because when the phone comes back on, all those messages come. It's good when they're with a staff member to talk through that.
Right.
Be honest and open. And one of the most difficult things to do is change one thing, everything, right? That includes your cell phone number. So even today, I have a 772 area code. Because when I got a treatment, I changed it. No more 618.
That's Florida. That's a
4314 St. Louis 636. The common ones. But
and that's a Florida area code.
That's a Florida area code. So the only the downside about having that area code is everybody thinks I'm a bill collector when I call it.
Well, sometimes you are. But to this, not to beat this dead horse, but this is important because I get this asked when people reach out, want to know about IRC. Want me to connect them to the call center. They ask about the phone because they got to keep in touch with their kids.
That's probably like the number one question.
I got to talk to my kids.
Can I have my cell phone?
And what I hear is, well, I got to talk to my kids. I got to answer my work emails. That's one and two that I hear. And to your point, you need to work on yourself and you need to miss your kids. I mean, these are. You're here for them.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
Makes you realize how fucking important the work you're doing here is, and that you don't want to be back here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because you miss them so much,
yep.
and That's part of it.
Part of detox is detoxing from your mobile device.
We call it it's a blackout, right? 7
Yep.
7 day
7
blackout.
days.
I think I could just come here just for that.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that.
Jeff, that's a real thing because when you're checking in, you're worried about it, but when you get removed, you're like, man, how pleasurable would that be? I don't have to, be bound and tied to my cell phone and let the world, in just a click of a button have access to.
Yeah, when you ask a client like 10, 12 days in, like they're phenomenal, like they love it not having their phone.
Right.
It's like the best thing I've ever had.
I saw a meme the other day. It was like the average guy spends 7 hours a year taking a shit just to fake it, to hide from their fucking kids and family.
That's all.
For some peace and quiet. Maybe it was more than that, but it was something. Disconnecting from that is, I just this morning we had a big email migration. So it started last night at like 9 p.m. and I woke up this morning and I didn't have like any emails because I knew the migration, so I didn't panic. But I was like, this is fucking liberating.
Yeah.
And it didn't really start flooding in until about 8:30. And, I was up about 6. And if I wake up to piss in the middle of the night, I check my fucking phone for email emergencies. And I had nothing. And I'm like, God damn, I slept good last night.
Yeah. I don't have that anymore, thank God. I have like a practical question. Like, what's it like specifically at our IRC, like when you're going to come here? Like, because I'm sure sometimes it's like, I got to go now. But also, I'm sure there's some people who are like, prepare a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it
both? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what's it like? Is there, because here's what I would picture. Like, do you come here or do you get some information? Here's like a checklist, get ready to come. Or is it different than that?
Your expertise there.
So, Jeff, your question, just to feed it back, is it related to the cell phones or no? You just
No,
mean,
this is just like in general to come here. Yeah.
I was going to say, bring the cell phone and come, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
If
We'll
someone,
talk about the cell phone.
yeah.
Yeah.
Once you
But
get
if
through the
someone
double
wants to
doors.
come in and it's urgent or emergent,
Yeah.
right? So, I guess the short and sweet of it is when they call in, we pride ourselves with moving efficiently. So unless you're in this field, you really wouldn't know, but it's sometimes a pain in the ass to get admitted into a rehabilitation center.
Mm-hmm.
Most facilities have a long, drawn out bullshit process.
Yeah.
And that's what we pride ourselves on. I was director of admissions for a couple of years at another facility, and the team and our current director of admissions, Angie Isom, is incredible, and we specialize in making sure it's efficient. So the answer to your question, Jeff, is we just have a couple questions to make sure you're clinically or medically qualified.
Mm-hmm.
We're humble enough. We don't want to try to render care to someone if we're not qualified to.
Talk about that
Right.
more, though. That's where you're going to, by default, speak a little bit more expert than what Jeff. So what are some examples of not medically qualified?
Well, so if someone is not, let's just say, ambulatory, or if they can't walk,
Sure.
or if they can't, if they're bound to a wheelchair,
Not because you're stumbling drunk.
no,
Right,
yeah,
no.
because you-
I mean, physically, if you're just unable to facilitate daily activities, you can't dress yourself, you can't bathe yourself, you can't feed yourself, you can't walk up a flight of stairs. We're not the best facility for you, but we have obviously resources where community partners where we can recommend those facilities that you should go to and that are reputable and have a great team behind them.
Is it accurate to say 9 times out of 10 that's referring to the hospital?
No, not.
There's some like assistant living type
Okay.
Yeah.
treatment places,
Yeah. The hospital. So this is also, we're kind of taking a dog leg and going into some other things, but it's a good question. Hospital, believe it or not, is not the best place to go if you're struggling with drugs and alcohol. I think there's people out there that would disagree, but hospitals by design is to preserve life. They want to make sure you're not going to die, right? Other than that, they want to get you out of there because you're tying up a bed for other individuals that have, life-threatening complications. So a rehab is designed and specializes for the detoxification process or to help others on a clinical side of you when you're struggling with substance abuse. But there's a false connotation and false belief that I'm struggling, I need to go to the hospital. What you don't see behind the scenes is hospital staff is trying to get you out of there and refer to a substance abuse facility.
Right. That
So-
can medically detox.
Sure. So going back to where we started, Jeff, if you're ready to go, there's a couple questions asked. We're a private program. So a couple questions about clinical, mental health, substance use history, medical underlying complications you may
Legal
or may
background.
not have, legal background, medications you're on, and then the financial discussion. But we pride ourselves once again in making that I can have that conversation in under 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And most facilities, and this is not me throwing shade, but most facilities, there's a process they have to follow, and it's got to go up the hierarchy.
Like 24-hour process.
Yeah.
Wow.
People
A
sometimes
lot of people, most facilities,
Yeah.
the vast majority, it will take them at a minimum 8 hours before you can admit.
That's like quick for some.
That's quick. That's moving efficient. Like Jacob said, sometimes it takes
It's like
a
the next
true day.
Yeah. Usually the next day is when you get an answer.
Yes.
So
What our thought was by design with IRC was we are not going to judge an individual by that piece of paper.
right.
So if it is within the parameters, once again, medically, they're fit, right? They can feed themselves, bathe themselves, so on, what we just talked about. Clinically, they are aware and oriented enough to they're aware of what's taking place, right? They're not having a complete psychotic episode or anything of
Yeah,
that
they
such.
know what they know what they're doing. You know?
Right.
That's what the phone conversation
So
is
that's
for.
so that's medically, clinically, and then once again financially, we're upfront and honest about that, whether they have private insurance or private pay, and then all that can take place while they're in the car here. But once again, there used to be,
Oh yeah.
I shouldn't say used to, it's still present, but most facilities have to go through several chains of commands, several answers to questions.
What,
That's the
before they
benefit
can
of
come.
me
Why-
and Eric being hands-on everything.
Yeah, I was going to say
Absolutely.
that. So what is it behind the scenes that causes that much
It's
red
just
tape? Is it
getting
insurance
getting the
issues?
paper over to the clinical director, to the
Mhm.
medical director. They have to approve it, and they're not watching it live. You
Right.
know, so they got to send an email. Hopefully, they're not at dinner,
Sure.
and they're not whatever it is. You know, where-
C-suite corner office type of.
Yeah,
Right.
where me and Eric, I've checked my phone a million times. A lot of
I've
it's
seen
front
it.
end stuff, you know,
Yeah.
because we're hands on. We watch it
You
constantly.
do that during core group too. We're
I
trying
do
to
it during everything. Got to.
Yes.
It don't stop.
which I do appreciate.
Addiction
Checked it
doesn't
5
wait.
minutes ago. I got 8 notifications here.
Yes.
You know, but
I do appreciate.
and I would say the brag on us a little bit. I think our fastest submission ever was about 25 minutes. So
Yeah.
Wow.
I do remember somebody I was helping. Then to Jeff kind of asked about this. A lot of people will call me like, I'm going to get some things in order, go through, and they're not as urgent, and it'll stall and slow. But you'll email a list of do's and don'ts, what to bring,
Yeah,
what not to
yes.
bring.
I'll get into that a little bit too. So
Yeah.
there is going to be people that have legit reasons I can't admit till 3 days from now, a week from now, whatever it is. So one thing we do always, we send them an email, basically what to bring, do's and don'ts, or rules, kind of what to expect when they get here. And what we do also is when we have somebody that says it's going to be 3 days out, a week out, we let them know, like, well, we're going to check in with you every single day. So
Yep.
answer your phone. We're going to call, make sure you're okay. Let's be real. Addiction is life and death out there.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to call and we're going to check in every day till your admission day.
Mm.
So if somebody's a week out, they're going to get called probably if they answer once. If they don't answer at least twice a day, they're going to get checked in on, make sure they're okay.
It's a wellness
Everything's
check.
good. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
because one, let's be real. Like I've worked in contact center. Like when you're in active addiction, there's not many people calling you to say, "Hey, how are you?"
Right.
It just doesn't exist when you're out there running and gunning.
Sure.
It's not for
Right.
me. It was.
Yeah, and a lot of the people that would call, you've already burnt those
Yeah,
bridges.
yeah. So like when you get those phone calls, it's just like we just call. We don't want. We're not like trying to rush you. We're
No.
not trying to say get your shit together. Let's go. We're saying, are you okay today?
Yeah,
Compassionate.
we're not
fine.
trying to be
Yeah.
a burden either.
Yeah.
It's simply put, it's a wellness check. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. It's addiction. We're talking about fentanyl. We're talking about alcohol or benzodiazepines. We're talking about substances where you can be here right now and gone 5 minutes from now.
Even when you
So-
don't think you're doing those substances.
Yeah.
For crying out
So
loud,
we
you
want to
know?
call and just say, and a lot of times I'll relay if I answer the phone, I'll relay it over the phone and say, client Chris, I'm going to call you every day or every other day. I'm not here to burn up any of your time. I know you got affairs to put in order, but I just want to call, hear your voice, know you're alive, answer any questions you may have. And then that's it. and I'm here for moral support, because a lot of fear creeps in the form of fear, which is our disease telling us on, things, reasons, excuses why we shouldn't admit. So you may have those questions. So I want to engage in, have that conversation to minimize those fears.
My personal experience, I knew when I woke up on a Saturday morning after a Friday night, last night of debauchery, I knew that weekend that I was going to go knock on my primary care doctor's door on Monday, Dr. Naidu, and tell her it was time. She got me in at 3:00 that Monday. She had me a bed that night, but I wanted to go home and get my affairs in order. I wanted to go home, maybe send a couple messages, but I wanted to go home and have a couple drinks and know that this was it.
Right.
I don't recommend that. And she was not super thrilled, or was putting it on low odds that I was going to check into that place on Tuesday.
Right.
But I did. I was serious about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't. My limited. You guys do this every day, and the people that will call and reach out to me, that how many times it does happen. I'm ready now, and I need to go now. And okay,
you have to capitalize on that as
yeah,
well, because
right.
our willingness, that's a fleeting thought.
Sure.
Of willingness to get help, and once
That's a
again,
good
it goes back to a lot of facilities take too long. There's just a lot of, you said it earlier, Chris, there's a lot of red tape,
Right.
because facilities don't want to bring someone in when you're for whatever rhyme or reason, you are not qualified to be at that facility. Okay, so facilities don't know your insurance has a stipulation where it won't allow you, IRC to render care here. So the facilities that I've worked for, which is that's the norm in the industry, they play it safe than sorry. Where with us, we don't want to judge you on a piece of paper. So we do some deductive reasoning. We try to do what we can on the front end to make sure you're qualified, whether it's clinically, medically, or financially, to come in. And then if we have to wait till the next day, to verify your insurance and see factually if they'll provide coverage, then that's what we'll do. And at the end of the day, even if we have to refer you to one of our community partners, it got you off the street into a safe, sober environment for that 24 hours.
Sure.
Right. Instead of hanging up the phone and saying, well, Jeff, we can't help you till tomorrow because we can't verify your insurance.
Right.
Or you can't come today because we can't get a hold of the medical director. No, we have done that in the past, but those are for issues that are really unique in its own right.
Well, I don't know why. I'm just really interested in some of these practical things. As someone who has anxiety really bad, I think it's just like, this is a question I have. Like, if I show up and I need off the streets now, like, do you guys provide like toiletries? Do you guys, I'm serious. Like,
No, yeah, good question.
Sure.
like even like when I had to go to the hospital and I was admitted from the emergency room and I didn't know I was going to have to go in. And thank God they had like, here's a toothbrush, here's toothpaste, here's shampoo, is that what you guys do here?
Yeah. We have basically when you get here, you'll get like a welcome bag. It's basically like one of those drawstring gym bags.
Yeah.
With like notebooks, water bottle, things you're gonna need during stay. But then you're also there's like the hotel style bag.
Toiletries.
Shampoo, body wash, soap, toothbrush. And then hopefully you have the means for like the next day or so family to bring it in. If not, we will find a way to get you what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody here is going to go without. That's for sure. So.
Yeah. We won't let somebody go without.
Yeah.
And this is the coolest thing. Yeah. The coolest thing is when someone comes in and they don't have anything.
Right.
And that's not cool. The coolest thing is what happens next is that the staff rallies together. All of a sudden, a new pair of Nikes may or may not from staff be donated.
Yeah.
And same with clothes and Jeff, like you said, toiletries. We will never let someone go without.
Yeah.
And another cool thing happens too, not just from staff, other clients.
Right.
Other clients. So you see the human nature really shine, and it's pretty cool on, there's a lot of love within the walls, and people will donate a pack of cigarettes or donate some of their snacks that they have from our seasoned or tenured individuals that's been here for a while to make sure the new admit does not go without.
And we get a lot of alumni that come back and they'll drop off a couple cart, like they'll come back for the meetings. This happens probably almost once a week, if not more. Hey, here's a carton of cigarettes. Just put it in the donation.
Ciggies are big.
Yeah.
Here's some vapes, for that. Little things like that goes really far.
God, that fucking warms my heart.
I know, me too.
It's cool.
The only thing Eric's really stingy about is fucking laundry detergent.
Yeah.
Clients don't touch laundry detergent.
Originally, they were going to have people do their own laundry until they started using filling the cup too much with that soap. And Eric's like, motherfuckers, that shit don't grow on trees.
That's right.
To have somebody do my laundry would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We fold it really nice too.
Yeah.
And he'll go back and forth on it until it's somebody over using too much detergent.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. What about living quarters? Do you have your own room? You have a roommate? How's that work out?
So there's semi-private rooms.
Yeah.
There are. So this takes place, and you wouldn't know unless you work in this field, right? So when you call in, I don't want to say more often than not, but you'll have individuals request a private room.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Another cool thing that takes place is if we can facilitate a private room, we will, because you asked.
Mm-hmm.
But within the next couple days, 9.5 times out of 10, the individual will come to staff and say, can I room with Jacob? Can I room with Jeff? Can I room with whoever a friend that they made in the program?
Yeah, that's cool.
The relationships formed in here I get to see it on Saturday nights when we come and do the church thing. It's fucking incredible. And I remember then it takes me back to the time the people that I bonded with, you really, really fucking connect. And a lot of it's because you don't have this. We just talked about that.
Yeah.
Chris, I'll his phone again.
Yes.
Like, what? Can nobody fucking see?
Well, a lot of people listen to a podcast.
I would listen to it.
Oh, yeah. That's like a radio thing. Fuck off.
It's only his fucking name on the show.
Yeah.
But semi-private rooms, though,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah.
That's it, and that happens, like I said, more often than not.
Yeah,
So,
because then you got two people to a bathroom, 2 people to a shower, which is really
Nice fucking rooms, too.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
With our facility, all facilities are going to be different. That concept, like our bedrooms, like they're the exact layout, and the one we're sitting in right now.
Yeah.
There's 2 full-size nice beds. You get your dressers and stuff like that.
But notice
And
what Jacob said right there. Full size.
yes, which is
beds.
rare as well
Right.
for a treatment center.
Treatment center usually has twins.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And they're usually 3 to 4 in that bedroom. So
Mm-hmm.
there's 2 in a room. Every room we have detox and residential bedrooms have a private bathroom for you and your roommate. It's only your bathroom to use.
My roommate
better
fucking
than college.
was going around telling everybody his name was William Wallace. And he was trying to break out for freedom. I'm like, God, somebody fucking give this guy a trazodone.
So, well, also we try to make sure individuals have roommates that are somewhat compatible.
Right, yeah.
You
yeah,
know.
like, you don't get thrown into a random room.
Or,
like
right.
Yeah.
between Angie and Jenny, so our admissions director and our operations director, like they pick apart people's personalities and put you to something you're going to work really well with.
So it's hard.
So-
Just we're not going to go too deep into this, but if someone's 70 years of age, a 70-year-old alcoholic, we're not going to try to room him or her with an 18-year-old heroin addict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It'll
It's
mesh.
just
Could make it a good sitcom though. But.
yeah.
Yeah. Jacob, what's your sign? We gotta put you in that.
Wait, is that an actual FAQ?
No, it's not. It's not. How do I explain a rehab stay to my boss?
You don't have to. That's the beautiful side of it. Talk
there
to
you
HR.
Mm-hmm.
What's good about treatment is that you are protected on like FMLA. I always recommend that people tell your HR department, it's confidential to your employer then, like your bosses. And basically all that discloses that you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
You have a medical leave. That's all. That's what's going
Or
on.
you
Okay.
can take the approach and say, you know how I've been late every fucking day and been shit in the bed for the past month? I'm shooting heroin. So that will
When I get back, I'm going to be a lot better an employer.
Yeah.
more often than not, they'll understand and you
And
get to go get help.
I do think it's more reality based that the question's legit, and I understand. We tell people all the time they do have rights, but I think there's a lot of, and it's in this area too. I mean, a lot of small businesses, a lot of people that bigger companies that treat employees like family. I mean, what I tell people is you're going to be fucking shocked. First off, they already know. Your boss probably knows that you got a problem.
Right.
Second off, they're going to be really fucking proud of you. I mean,
Yep.
I'm sure there's a 1% exception where the boss was an asshole about it.
Yeah.
fuck him, go get or her, go work somewhere else.
That's good. Like one of the good things about like really the stigma from addiction has been, I think, lifted a lot in the last 8 years.
Sure.
You know, where like if you tell you're like, I can't remember the last time somebody found out I'm in recovery and they said that's gross. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Congratulations, I'm proud of you, or something really positive. The boss is the exact same way, and let's be real, addiction has affected almost the whole population now.
Yeah.
I see
Where they have sympathy and empathy towards like, okay, yeah, I understand. Go get help. Everything's like 9 out of 10 times you hear like the employers like,
Yes.
get help. We have everything covered. Don't worry about
The
it.
only,
You are good.
The only
That's
time I've heard
majority
it really be negative is usually if it's a small organization someone works for, and I don't know why, but it's usually like a small construction outfit.
Right.
Because now who owns that construction outfit is missing a key component of that algorithm, right? And now it's affecting that employer's pockets.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really, in my experience, that's the only time I've seen the employer, not really be supportive, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
You know, but in my
rather
own
have
experience,
a sick, drunk, or high
Right.
construction
Yes.
employee.
But
Yeah.
legally,
Fuck off.
they can't like fire you for that, can they? Or can they?
well, it's
Is it
if they qualify for a Family Medical Leave Act.
right?
So if they've been, I think the actual number is 9 months or over.
Yeah.
Federally FMLA you qualify for, and you can take that leave of absence, and they can't fire you.
Right.
Now
You're not going to get paid.
You're not going to get paid from FMLA. It just
Yeah.
secures your job. Now, though, I mean, let's be honest. If they want to put a target on you, they can put a target
Right.
on you, when you return. But it goes back to you're doing the right thing more oftentimes than not. The vast majority, everything works out in its favor because you're doing the right thing.
And here's
Odds
the
are on
thing:
your side.
that job
Yes.
to the addict isn't more often than not. It's not as important as we make it out to sound. It's a barrier for us to go to treatment.
All right.
Sure.
Because if I go to treatment and I come back to a place that's not supportive, and now I'm healthy, I'm telling that person to go fuck themselves and go get
Right.
another job. It's not. There's plenty of places hiring,
Yes.
and plenty of places that would be very grateful to have someone that fucking took the bull by the horns and went and got help, man. I mean,
I can let you know
'cause
right
it's
now, an addict with good recovery is one of the best employees you'll ever have. So
Yep. Yep.
they're
It turns into a
phenomenal.
superpower.
Oh yeah.
Your recovery, you're a disease, right? We get help for it, and being in recovery, it turns into a superpower.
I see a lot of the people look when I tell them I'm in recovery and sober and in the workspace, they're like, "Oh, that's awesome," and then their eyes kind of go sideways because they're starting to count how many fucking drinks they had last night, and like, "Oh fuck."
Taking their own inventory.
Oh, big time! I mean, almost can see it. Like you can almost see it. You can. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, later when you tell someone you're in recovery, it's funny because usually they somehow think all of a sudden you became a clinician, right? And they're like, "Well, Chris,
Yeah.
I drink a lot. Does that make me an
Right?
alcoholic?"
They start asking how much.
know.
How much exactly did you drink?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
Checking
start taking their
everything.
tabs.
Drinking on a Tuesday
Yeah, right.
at 2 p.m. Does that make me an alcoholic?
Yeah.
A bunch of probing questions.
Yeah.
But the employer's standpoint, my own experience, it was one of the scariest things I did. But going to my employer, worked for Frito-Lay for 10 years, and being a big organization under PepsiCo, when I went to my boss and told them I was struggling, they were overwhelmingly supportive for me getting help.
Wow.
You used as an
Yes.
excuse with Nick, and what did he tell you?
Yeah, so I had that moment of clarity happen there too. My argument when one of my good friends offered me an invitation to get help, I said I can't leave and go get help. I'll lose my job. My job's my everything. I've been there 10 years, just graduated college, right? And he said, "Eric, you're shooting fucking heroin. You're shooting heroin. How long do you think you're going to have that job?" And that made sense to me.
Right.
I didn't rebuttal. I didn't argue. I didn't say, "Yeah, but no, I'm a good heroin addict. Probably a long time, Nick. I'll
got
continue to
this."
have this. I got this." No, it made absolute sense. And we try to share that on the front end with individuals that call in.
Yeah.
That way they won't put their job in front of their recovery.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing too when they got the courage to be open and honest with their employer, and then the employer's supportive, and that's a huge stress reliever.
And we also, not to beat this one up, but say if you're fortunate enough to have a job that has health insurance, let's do something about it before you fucking lose the job because you're drunk.
Absolutely. Yep. And that happens
way too much.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I can't go because I don't want to lose my job. And individuals call back weeks, sometimes days later, and they lost their job.
Right.
You don't have that barrier anymore, but now you don't have a health insurance to pay for it.
And for those that don't know, not having health insurance, it's a shitty process. Our system, our medical health system is there. It is flawed, and there's extensive wait times to get in state-funded programs. Let alone a private program is very costly.
Took me 4 months to get a state-funded bed.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
This one comes from a loved one of a person. Is it okay if I'm still angry even after they get clean?
Yeah, you probably
Absolutely.
should be. Yeah.
Yep.
Like that's one thing that I'll kind of give a. When I was back at a different program, me and Kevin Button, we created that family program, and what I wanted to do as the group was kind of talk to the loved ones about recovery, addiction, stuff like that. And I made a mistake of doing my first group with the clients and the family members together. And during that group, all I got was family members being like, I'm just so proud of Jimmy. I'm so happy, so forth, all this positive stuff. And I'm looking at these family members like, that's not what you want to ask me. Like, that's not what you want to say. So the following week, I did it with just the families, no clients allowed in the room, just the families. And that's where it came out like, why if I'm pissed, I have all these reservations, and well, you should, right? I'll speak for myself. I did a lot of bad things to my loved ones. I always tell clients, myself, this disease, the more you love me, the more I'm going to fuck you over in active addiction. That's just how the disease works. And it takes a very long time to rebuild that trust, make the amends, make you not angry. And it's supposed to be that way. It's just how it is. You're not going to fix all this wreckage. And the client should know that. Like, I'm not against clients knowing, like, hey, your wife, your mom, your husband, your loved one, they're fucking mad.
Yeah.
And also, one of the benefits of our 7-day blackout gives them a little bit of a break from you as well.
To heal.
They're not worried sick. They're not dealing with the chaos we cause. But, and that's the whole point. Like, it's going to take time. And that's where, like, recovery is hard. But when we talk about making amends, there's a reason it's not step one,
Right.
Because it takes effort. You got to show them that you're getting better.
And from the addict standpoint, we want it to be step one.
Yeah.
We want to hurry up and
Oh, yeah.
make it all better. We don't want to sit in that. We want mom, dad, sister, brother, husband, wife's approval for them to say, it's okay. It's okay, Eric. I forgive you. That way it's like, woof.
Yeah.
I feel better now, right? But as an addict, you believe subconsciously that the world stops because Eric decided to get help.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this feeling that there's supposed to be a parade to come down fucking Broadway Street because Eric decided to get help. And no, there's wreckage of our past. There's we have consequences to our actions. And while it's uncomfortable, you have to sit in that because it's also a valuable learning lesson.
You start, you get that unconditional, instantaneous grace and mercy from Jesus. That's my spiel. And then, because Jesus, that's how it fucking works. And then you work with your human beings that are complex with a lot of emotions, and families are fucking fucked up before this, right? So, yeah, and knowing that and having those honest conversations is only going to yield better results than fucking sunshine and rainbows and bullshit.
Right. And that's what I was actually talking to the clients. I do like a group every Wednesday with like the detox clients. It's a lot of staff. Like one person in every department's there. We kind of tell the clients what we do, what each staff member does, what their role is. And when I was talking to them, I was talking about the family program. Like, there's going to be a lot of hard talks you need to have with your loved ones, and your loved ones need to have with you. That's kind of why we want our family program to be there. So, like, let's do those hard talks now while you're here. Set that ball up so you don't do that when you leave here. Because every family member is going to have something they want to say, right? That's not nice, not positive. Like, I still remember, because that program I went to did not have a family program. The first thing my mom said to me when I walked out of that treatment center, when are you going to clean up all the fucking mess you just made?
Wow.
Right.
Mm.
And luckily, like, she was supportive still, but like, but like, that's a real
Give me
talk
a
that
fucking
families.
second.
Yeah, but like, I didn't give her a fucking second. So you know what I mean? But that's why like those talks would be a lot better with a Kevin Button sitting in the room with
Absolutely.
you know what I
Right.
mean? Because let's also be real. I could tell my mom till I was blue in the face that day that I was going to make it right. She wouldn't believe me. That lady has nothing but lies from me from the last decade of my life.
Sure.
And that's where like we talk about like you got to show families that you're better through action. Our words lost all meaning from active addiction because we just lie. It's what we do, you know?
In a way, it's a blessing because you really do earn back the trust you do get back. You earn it the hard way. I always think about even outside of this sector, relationships in general can grow and flourish through hard conversations instead of, I mean, and people fucking go miles out of the way to avoid a confrontational conversation. I mean, it's a real issue. I mean, people, I don't love it. I fucking hate it. I think about relationships in my own life outside of addiction. I've gone back and forth with my mom before because we won't fucking have a hard conversation and talk about the 800-pound gorilla sitting in the room. And it's unhealthy there. This stuff, it forces you into some pretty hard conversation that yield a lot of fucking growth, personally and as a relationship. So having a coach, if you will, a clinician in the room who's also a fucking expert and genius and all that. He hates when we fucking blow him up, but he's the man. It's super helpful. I can't imagine. I wish the place I went to had something even half as effective as what we're doing here with Kevin and what you guys are doing.
The family also needs time to recover.
Yeah.
There's this thing too is, you know, when Eric's in active addiction, if Eric just goes and gets help, when he comes back, everything's hunky-dory. But like the question, Jeff, is no, family has not forgotten. They may have forgiven, but they have not forgotten. So need to work through that and be open and honest. And sometimes it's just a direct conversation to the addict or alcoholic struggling, just to say, get it off your mind on, you know, what Eric did, and this is how it made me feel. So you don't have to carry that burden.
And I think it is important for like the addict too to accept that. Like that's one thing that like I think helped me my last time in treatment was like I accepted that I did bad things. I'm not a bad person, but I did some fucked up stuff. And like, cause I remember like one time I relapsed. I've had a lot of relapses in my story. One time I relapsed because my mom accused me of being high when I wasn't.
You showed her.
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I'm like, yeah, if you don't believe in me, I'm going to do it anyhow.
Yeah.
And I remember bringing that up in my last treatment center. I was in like talking about that type of stuff. And this guy, I think he was a member of like a 12-step program that came in. He goes, well, no shit. Every mood she's ever seen you in, happy, sad, mad, good day, bad day, upset, whatever it was, you were high because of it.
Yeah.
So no matter what mood you have now, she's automatically going to associate it to being high. She's traumatized. It's going to be her first response. So I had to accept, like, well, she's going to think I'm high because that's all she knows of me at this moment.
There's a level of honesty to yourself by doing that. And then you mentioned that being one of the pillars to treatment programs. Like, it's not just being honest with the others around you and telling your story. It's being honest with your fucking self.
And also, like, there's some sign of humility that you're going to have as well. Because, like, if your loved one or whatever it is tells you to pee in a cup because they think you might be high, just fucking pee in the cup. If you're not high, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, why are you taking offense to it?
Yeah, that's like where like you have to
because you're high,
your ego,
exactly.
Because you're gonna drop dirty,
exactly.
Or just like your ego will fucking kill you too with that. You know, like I'm a grown man. I'm not peeing in a cup for my mom. Well, if it
why are you living with your mom, you 30-year-old? You know, right?
So shame everyone, dude. But
I'm a grown man.
Go to the basement, you know.
Right.
What's
for dinner, cup, mom?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Meatloaf ready?
I think that leads into a next question that I have, though, really is how do I forgive myself for what I did in active addiction?
Through God, everything.
Jesus,
possible.
baby.
Yeah.
I know because I'm not the religious one out of all of us, but for me, I just did it.
Wait, this is funny. Are you, because people do, you think I'm the fucking Christian super freak sometimes. I'm not. But like you say, like just, if I fucking, I'm 11 years sober, 11 plus whatever days sober I am, would have said that I'd be sitting around the table with you assholes and I'm being referred to as a religious. I still think that's fucked up today,
So
but
funny.
God.
But like, as a cliche as it sounds, like this is a lot where like just for today saying kicks in. Like it's more just like staying clean for a day.
Yeah.
Like I focused on like my actions for that day. Because one thing for me, like I know I shared my story on here before, like my brain is sick. Like I have really negative, bad thoughts about myself. And I still remember like I started forgiving myself by having just correct action. Right. The story I tell the clients all the time when it, like I'm a big believer, I have to quit giving my thoughts power over me and my beliefs in myself. I can't rely on my thoughts. And I still remember, I always give this story. It's a minimal one for really what my brain does. But I remember being in early recovery. I had to be about 90 days clean. And I was in a line at a coffee shop, standing there going through it. There's a tip jar on the counter full of money, right? And all I could think about that whole time was stealing.
Jacking that.
Just taking that whole jar of money. I'm looking at the cameras. I'm looking at the girl behind the counter. She's 90 pounds. She can't stop me. And I just think about stealing this tip jar. And I get all the way through the line, pay for my coffee, put $1 in the tip jar, and I walk out. And I spent probably about 3 hours, like the next 3 hours, beating myself up.
That you had that thought.
Yeah, well, like, why am I such a piece of shit? Like, why am I this horrible, horrible human being? That's what I think about. And I remember I called this guy, Tom. He's a big mentor of mine. And I asked him, like, Tom, why am I such a piece of shit? Why am I not better by now, right? And he goes, what the fuck are you talking about? One, because I didn't explain anything. I start the conversation that way. So I give him the same story I just told you, like, told him what happened. He goes, you're a fucking idiot. You're a productive member of society. You paid for your coffee. You gave a tip. You are a good human, right?
Build on that.
And that's why I started taking that, and I started just going more and more into, like, I'm my actions. I just looked at my actions.
Yeah.
And through that's when I started finally getting the belief, like, I'm not a bad person. I am good. I have sick thoughts, but I am a good person, which then led to the forgiving of myself.
Shame's fucked up too, man. You can really go down that. I mean, they call it a shame spiral, and you can go down it. So doing that is like a tangible way to get out of that spiral by saying, yeah, I bought this coffee today. I didn't fucking steal that jar. And those build up. I wasn't kidding, but joking when I said the Jesus thing, but I also I am an advocate, Eric, of seeing a therapist. I'm an advocate.
Absolutely.
I think they can help with that. I mean, they big time, and just getting that out and getting those thoughts, like even calling your sponsor was a form of that, talking it out and getting that shit out,
right,
of your own head. And
well, you're not responsible for your thoughts either.
Yeah.
That's our disease. It's going to be there. It's just working through that, but we are responsible for our actions.
Exactly.
So the thoughts, like Jacob said, those, especially early in recovery, the good thing is those subside, but it never fully goes away, because how many years in active addiction did we participate in those shenanigans?
The only woman I think about is Ashley.
And I am a big fan of Christy and a therapist. So.
Yeah.
Probably too. But.
I think that's something that I have in common
frequency.
in that way, is that, like, as far as like mental health goes, like it took me a long time to realize that I'm not well mentally sometimes, and I can't help that, but I'm still responsible for it. And that was something that it was a hard pill to swallow, and for a long time.
Sure.
It still is sometimes. Like, I'm a fucking dick to my wife.
Yep.
And because I'm experiencing a low in my like bipolar-ish thing that I have.
Sure.
Chlamydia, whatever it's called.
But it's still
Syphilis.
Yeah, there was.
cyclothymia.
He has to say
But
that
it's
every time.
still a cyclothymia. But it's still on me, right? You know,
Right.
I mean, regardless if I can't help that, there's something I can do
Serenity
about it.
prayer works for you too. Same shit.
Yeah.
Control the things you can, right?
Right.
Well, when you in active addiction, you steal grandma's wedding ring, pawn it, right?
Right.
You're responsible for that, even though you got sober.
Grandma Hollis?
Oh, yeah.
And
I didn't know you didn't.
but I'm not responsible for the
Is that right?
thought, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you
yeah.
participated in that. You can't just say like, "Oh, that was my disease." Sorry, grandma.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
bad.
work like
Yeah.
that.
Right. 100% responsible to actions.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to make right. And you make up for bad actions through good actions, right? So,
Absolutely.
Well, I was talking to a guy today, just this afternoon, about, I've often heard you say it, Eric, and I've heard you say it, and we say it, that, tell me it's not a disease. When you hear somebody talking about really literally robbing their grandma, like, that's a sick mind. Tell me it's not a disease when you stole your grandma's fucking wedding ring and whoever did it.
Right.
But you get help. You take your insulin like a diabetic would, and then you don't do that shit again. And that's what you are in control of.
Right.
Right. So we always talk to like just being in treatment. Like you really see how powerful this disease has over people when they're not on drugs anymore. 10, 12, 13 days in, and you see them want to leave treatment. Just like you can literally watch that person having that internal battle with themselves. So like, I need to leave. No, you need to stay to get help.
Yep.
And you can just watch it go back and forth in their head. And it's really will show you, like, if you want to see how powerful and why this is the disease, is watch that happen with a person.
Yeah.
Because they'll tell you, like, I know this is the wrong decision, but I got to go.
Yep.
And like
even when their kids are in jeopardy or husband, wife's in jeopardy of losing that, even with those dangling, and yet you still leave treatment or go get high or go use. That's when the thought pops in my head personally of, and this isn't a disease, huh?
Right.
This is an able-bodied individual with a clear, sound mind.
Physically detoxing as bad as anymore. You know what I mean? Like out of like the scary part of it.
The physical withdrawals. Now they're experiencing the mental side of it.
Yeah, and it's
feelings.
It just shows you how powerful and like it's a disease, right?
Yep.
Which would do a pretty good disease of addiction group, if you're wondering.
This one comes. It's a question
Do
about.
they want to sponsor us?
What?
Is that will they sponsor us?
Who?
Well, you plugged the group you do.
I said, will my group sponsor our podcast? No.
I'll take anything. I'll take any. Everybody throw in $5.
Yeah.
I got to pay for this golf tournament. But it's a sponsorship to get the word out for hope. Not out looking.
Try to justify it to us. We didn't ask. You know.
That was his disease. You see how that
Yeah.
works?
Well, that's right.
That was funny.
So you brought this up just a second ago. Detox. What's detox actually like? Am I going to be sick the whole time?
Not if we do our job. But it depends on like your substance you're coming off of. That's where like I'm a big believer. Addiction is addiction and drug is a drug. But detox is really does where it matters what you abuse. Because certain medications you get react to certain detox, withdrawal symptoms. Mm-hmm. But detox is rough. It's not as bad as people would think it is. Definitely like through like because we're a medical detox, right? So we have specifically meds designed around those certain withdrawal. Buprenorphine for opiates, Librium for like alcohol or benzo, stuff like that, where we can taper it. So we start you on a higher dose. We taper you down slowly, so you're not going to really feel those withdrawal effects. And we have a bunch of different comfort meds, so you treat the symptom. Yeah. You got restless legs, you got body aches, you got whatever it is, high blood pressure, anxiety, depression. There's going to be more medications you get to fight each symptom. You're going to have a rough couple days just because it's detox. It's not. You will see clients on day 2, so the day after they come in, hanging out playing bags, cornhole, whatever you call it. So it's not nearly as bad as you think it will be.
Iggy thought that was the coolest thing when he came on with Tina Meyer. He still talks about it, how he came out and people were like
fraternizing.
And
doing stuff, right? It's not zombies, nothing like that. Yeah.
Right.
So it's really not that bad.
You got to get that
medically
pickleball.
detox.
The best part about it too is, Jeff, there's really 2 types of facilities, right? In this field in substance use, state funded or private programs. So a major benefit of going to a private program and not trying to plug IRC, but once again, this is what we do very well, right?
The sponsor of the podcast.
Is detoxification process, the comfort level of medication, like Jacob said, is making sure the post-acute withdrawal symptoms are at bay. So Jacob's right. Mm-hmm. Your forethought of what you're going to encounter is worse than what it really is, courtesy of medication. You go to a state-funded program, they're counting pennies, and they're going to make sure that you may take the edge off there. Here, you're going to be a little bit too comfortable, and by that, because the medication, any symptom you're experiencing, we're going to put that at bay and allow you to have that ease. So there's medication that we use, we call comfort meds. That is for something as simple as just making sure you get some sleep. Other medication for blood pressure, other medication, Librium, Ativan for alcohol, buprenorphine, Suboxone for opiates. But the comfort level there is absolutely present at a private treatment center as long as the medical team is doing their job.
Yeah, because you see on like TV the people like sweating on the floor,
Sure.
or shivering while sweating,
Sure.
and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I was going to say TV is TV, but that's
Hollywood.
Well,
Yeah, but that's
I mean, that's
real.
very real
That's
if you don't have
yeah,
that
that's without
shit.
the meds. Like I
Yes.
laid in a bathtub with the shower on, fully dressed with a towel on.
I mean, that's
freezing
100%
shit.
of
You know
what
I
you
mean?
see on TV.
But
Yeah.
like, you get the right medication, like you're good.
Yes.
Just you got to go to the right facility to get the right medication. The doctors plays a big part of it because some facilities will over medicate you where you're sick from the meds.
Sure.
To
Is that what
under
Precip
where you're
is?
sick. That's
Oh,
if you
I
get
know.
meds too early. So Precip.
that's a
Jeff,
fentanyl thing.
Yeah, what is that?
is-
Thank you.
It's,
Yeah.
it's for opiate
Precipitated
users.
withdrawal.
So if you are on like opiates, fentanyl, heroin, pain pills, and you take what's like a buprenorphine and Suboxone too early, it puts you in the Precips, and Precips is just basically really bad withdrawal symptoms right away.
Mm.
So there's a lot of time. There's a called cows. I don't know. I should know what cows.
CWAS or cows.
CWAS for alcohol. Cows is opiates, but I don't know what cow stands for.
I hear my mom
Something.
say CWAS because of the nursing.
Yes,
She
it's-
talk like
it's-
fucking real jargon.
That's how you measure like somebody's withdrawal symptom severity.
Yeah.
So cows has to be at a certain level. You have to have a certain time. Because fentanyl, one thing bad about fentanyl is it stays in your system for like 72 hours.
Oh.
After the high and everything's gone. So it can put you in the Precips.
which is well, I've seen when people go through those worst stages of withdrawal, and it's fucking hard to witness.
Yeah.
I can't imagine going through it, and that's what I think
Right.
Precip's is the
Yeah,
peak
you
of
don't
your
want-
withdrawal.
Which I'm going to knock on a table.
and shit and-
We have never put anybody in the Precips here. So
Not
No,
that
a lot
I
of
can
times
recall.
I've seen
a lot
people,
of protocol takes place into that, though.
I've seen people come in that are, I don't know if there's a lack of a better term, experienced drug users, right? That's how usually people will get here, and they know enough. They know a lot. I mean, they know their body and they know what they need. They start trying to dictate the amount of Suboxone they need because they've been through this before. If some treatment centers, I think if they check in after hours and that treatment center doesn't have the meds on site or can't get to the pharmacy, they'll leave. So because they're not going to go through it, they're going to go get high and then come back the next day. It's all because they've gotten sick before, and we've talked about this before. You use drugs because you like them and they make you feel really good for a very short period of time. Then you use them to not get sick, right? And especially, I mean, it's in a way with alcohol too. That's what I was doing, but I mean, especially with
detox. We used to call it chic karate.
that's
So,
Eric's restless leg
Yeah.
syndrome.
restless legs, and that almost took me out of the equation. So
Well, I
that
was
was
gonna-
by far
detox
the
did?
worst.
Y-
Yeah,
You've said that.
So that's what I
You've
was
said that
gonna-
before. That restless leg. I never experienced. Thank God.
Oh my
this
was
gosh.
the worst.
man.
Well, I wanted to bring
You don't
this
fall
up.
asleep from the trazodone. That's
No.
20 times worse.
No.
Fuck.
Yes.
I mean, do you guys?
People out there in recovery will get that one.
Yes.
Yeah, because sometimes, someone who's not in this at all, kind of sitting here, thinks a little bit about like, okay, I'm glad they're comfortable, but should they be comfortable? And then the next question, what you just said is maybe they should because that could kill them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you got to remember too, as addicts, any uncomfortability, physically or mentally, we've had for the majority of our all of our use history, we go one solution: get high. Right.
Right.
I still remember I was talking to a couple of the peers. They asked me the other day. Oh, so our IOP staff, like, what was your biggest trigger in early recovery you had? I said, getting sick. When I got my first flu,
Yep.
I wanted to get high so fucking
It
bad.
brought
always
back
say-
all those memories.
Yeah,
So
because
detox.
I knew
That's
feel
wild.
sick, get high, it goes away, you're good.
Yep.
And that was like my big. So any discomfort that you don't want too much. You want a I get what you're saying. You
I
want a
tell people
little
all
bit,
day long
Yeah.
to hot
but you would
toddy.
have plenty of emotional discomfort.
Well, and I don't mean it
So
like by,
you're-
I
yeah.
think a drug addict should be punished. I just
No,
mean like,
no.
should you feel a little bit
Yeah,
of
Jeff,
you know
that's
what I
a
mean?
valid question.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to some extent, I would be lying and telling you in my career if that hasn't been intentionally done once or twice, right?
Right, yeah.
To humble the individual,
Yeah.
right? Now, we don't want someone to have a seizure or anything, but we do want someone, the addict, the alcoholic that's struggling, to
Yeah.
be mindful
Yeah.
when they minimize their usage.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, you come in and you're minimizing your usage, and no, I don't have that level of discomfort. I don't go through withdrawals. I'm functioning. I still got my house and my wife and kids. Okay, well, you haven't went 24 hours without a drink or a drug in
20
13
years.
years. Right. So, okay, well, let's see if Jeff gets a little uncomfortable.
You help him to that humility.
In theory, right? But
that part out. But.
The humbling is, I mean,
it's always listen. It may or may not have been done in my career.
Not here, of course.
No, never. We
You're
wouldn't
not
do
on
that
the
at
stand.
IRC.
Yeah. Well, okay, so now I'm going off the script a little bit here because I've got more questions are popping into my head.
Sure.
About so okay, if I come in, do you ever have people come in and they're not completely honest with you about what drugs they're doing?
Absolutely.
And then do you guys have a way of finding that out? Because it seems to me if I was like not completely honest, then the detox situation would really be fucked.
It only fucks your
Absolutely.
not being honest. One, yes, all the time.
how do you know an addict's lying?
When they open their mouth. That's the first rule working in treatment. But that's the first thing that
I think I've heard you say that's where I got that from.
Yeah.
So the first thing that first day ever working in this field as a tech, the clinical director of the facility asked me that. Do you want to know how you know when a client's lying to you? I said, well, how? When they open their mouth. Okay.
Yep.
But yes, all the time they want to minimize their use. It's crazy when you think about it from like this side, but it's all the time. And it only fucks over the person. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to get the meds they need, the amount of meds they need. Because that pre-assessment and then like their nursing assessment where they go over their use history, that's what's telling our doctors and medical staff like, okay, this person needs this amount of this stuff,
right?
This amount of this medication, this amount of this medication. Let's start them off here and see how they're doing. But it's all time. But we do a drug test when you come in.
Yeah.
You know, somebody comes in and says, well, I only have 3 beers a day. They blow a 0.25 on a breathalyzer. Right. Well, that's not true.
Right.
You know,
Right.
So you do drug test them and, you know, get a breathalyzer to get a staple down. Our medical detox are 24/7 monitored. We got bracelets that people wear called wavy bracelets that do wonders that keep like your vitals at all time for the nurses to see 24/7, which
Now there's a
is
sponsor.
great. Yeah.
Nikki.
Chris has dollar signs in his eyes this whole episode.
Right, yeah. Then it's like golf tournament.
Life's getting hard, baby.
Yeah.
So like, and when you see that, so we can kind of see their discomfort without them telling us, which is good.
Right.
You know, I kind of get it though, because as someone who, you know, Chris, you know, we're in therapy.
That's
Eric.
right.
It takes a long time to warm up to one person to really start to tell them the truth. So I can't imagine day one, even though it fucks you over, day one, I'm going to come and spill everything.
Right. Yeah. And like, in a lot of people, because like one, you tell.
But Jeff, you're in fucking rehab. That's what you got. You tell us what you're doing.
Right.
And that's what we tell them. That's one of the beautiful sides of us that we do advertise now. Well, 85% of our staff's in recovery.
Right.
All of our staff has been affected by addiction one way or another.
Absolutely.
So when people do minimize, we tell them like, hey man, we get it. It's okay.
You're not going to say anything that's going to embarrass.
Right.
I'm going to shock. I'm not going to be shocked and awed by anything you say.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to make sure that developing that bond, that trust, so they feel comfortable, because that's just the truth. They're not going to say anything that's going to have me or the team, anybody go, oh my, you know, we've been there. We understand. And everybody's story is so similar. And then there's, you know, little tweaks or little differences, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of the similarities. It's the same overall story, right? And they're struggling, and we got a lot of empathy for that individual.
It was hugely helpful for me when the first like BHT was like, it looked at me and said, 6 months ago I was sitting right where you're sitting, feeling the exact same you're feeling. It really helped me, you know. And then he was strip searching me and finger fucking my asshole about 2 minutes later. But I'm kidding.
I didn't know they do that at the dentist office.
Right.
But it does having that level of empathy is one of our superpowers here. It is. People can. It does help you open up quickly. I get amazed at how many people, and I used to do it all the time. Even lie to a lot of people tell their primary care physician, "Yeah, I drink twice a week," and they know you're fucking full of shit.
Yes.
But like it doesn't, like it's confidential. That it does no good to lie to these people. To lie to them, a therapist. Otherwise, it goes to the honesty part that Jacob talks about. But the ones that come in and are overly honest about their drug use are the ones that have been through withdrawal before and they know the
Yeah.
game. And
Both ends of the spectrum. So you can come in and underreport, Jeff. If you come in and underreport because of the guilt, shame, remorse, it is going to adversely affect your detox.
Yeah.
You're going to feel that uncomfortableness, and it will humble you, me, everybody involved.
the people that see it. You know,
Yeah. The other end of the spectrum is coming and over-reporting because you think, oh, I'm going to get some good medication and over-report. That way they'll throw a lot of medication. I'll be high through detox. Well, I may or may not have done that before, and I can assure you it catches
push-ups.
up with you. Yeah, it catches up with you later on down the road. And now when you're out of detox and you're supposed to feel better, now you feel like shit. You don't get the comfort meds or the detox meds that you're supposed to get in detox. You just prolong the inevitable.
Yeah.
And that's what us
Yeah.
addicts and alcoholics
That's
sometimes
interesting.
do.
Yeah, but having so much time, clean time in the staff, you can sniff that out a little bit, probably, right?
Yes.
If someone's
Yes.
full of shit or
Yes.
looking for that.
Just experience,
Right.
tenure in the field. You
Right.
can tell when someone's what we call med seeking.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a term for it.
Yeah. So that's, once again, though, medication, Jeff, in a private treatment center, it gives you, that's the optimal way. You know, not throwing shade at a state-funded program, but they just operate under a little bit different of their policy and procedures and availability of medication as well.
And this shit is no joke. I mean, we're putting dangerous chemicals in our body to get high, and we're needing medication. I mean, Becky shared it when her son first checked in, had to go to the hospital because his blood sugar. But I mean, this shit is, your health is on the fucking line here. Your life is on the line. It's not a fucking joke. You know, this is serious shit, and that's why we have to have a medical director as an MD. We have full nursing staff. Which also gives, you're in good hands to come to a place like this.
Should we do one more question?
Yeah, it's NHL playoff season, so there's like 3 games I'm missing right now to help the people.
One last question. One last question.
And the Blues are down 2-0, so I'm full of piss and vinegar.
I could see your body language shift. I'm serious. All right. Can I date or hook up while I'm in early recovery?
You can.
Sure.
Don't recommend it.
Don't recommend it?
No. Like the saying, like at least in the 12-step world, is give it a year, you know, before you go out trying to build a relationship, right? I'll say it nicely.
Under every skirt, there's a slip.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that fucking host.
Yeah.
Man.
That's how that works.
Told you needs a therapist.
So
That's funny.
You want to engage in
I'm
early
telling Ashley
recovery?
as soon as we get home.
Early recovery romantics. Well, there's a slip. You're going to slip up with your recovery. It's that serious.
And the whole like the clinical way of the wording, it's basically like
I'm no
early.
clinician though.
We know.
Early recovery requires,
But
early recovery does require like 100% effort into yourself, right? Like it's not like you have to give it your all to get all the recovery out of it. It's really much you put 100% in, you get 100% out. And also, what takes a lot of time and effort is building a good, healthy relationship. So if you're going to try to form a healthy relationship with like a new loved one in early recovery, you're going to give it, say, 50% of your effort. Now your recovery is only getting 50%, right? So therefore, your recovery is going to slip. You're not going to be successful. Or you give recovery 100% of it, you're getting into now with zero effort relationship, so it becomes toxic, which therefore pulls away from your recovery. It just doesn't work. You don't have that. You don't have the free time and effort.
From
and energy.
experience, I can tell you, dating my wife in early
I
recovery.
was just going to say you're the do as I say, not as I do mode right
It
now.
costs them like 3 more freaking treatment stays.
Yeah,
But,
true.
you know,
That is
throw
true.
that part out
First
there.
couple years was
One-way ticket to
woo-wee.
Jersey.
Yes,
They finally got it
yes.
right when there's no longer a new relationship.
Yeah, we were 3 years
Well,
into
but
it
this
before
is
we figured
good.
it
This
out.
is good.
Right.
It you wouldn't recommend it.
No, absolutely not.
And you start getting feelings back that you didn't really have when
Yes.
you were numbing the fuck out, and not just the bad ones. You
Yeah.
start wanting to fuck, you know? I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah, no, it's serious. We laugh about it and joke, but it's just not good, and it's gonna fail. It's gonna fail. Now that doesn't mean it can't rebound and you live happily ever after, me and Molly. But there was many failures, like Jacob said. Jacob obviously knows my story. You do as well, Chris. But Jeff, it took a lot of trial and error and a lot of mistakes being made, and we didn't allocate our focus, like Jacob said, to our recovery. So it wasn't till the agreement was made of Molly works her recovery, I work my recovery, did our relationship work. Because the best part about recovery, you get your emotions back. Worst part about recovery, you get your emotions back.
So how long
And
would you
also,
say?
Molly's a saint, so that
That
helped
too.
a lot.
Yeah, she actually made this thing work, to be honest.
How long would you say it was
About-
from the beginning of your relationship till when it finally felt like it was healthy?
I always earmark probably right around 2 or 3 years. 3
Okay.
years, closer to 3.
Okay, so Jacob's saying wait a year before you even start dating, and it took you 3. So if you would have waited a year, it would have maybe worked out faster.
Yeah.
You
There
got to
was no
ask
waiting
yourself
for 3
this
years.
too. It's-
They would have got married in under 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And as a general rule of thumb too, if you're single coming into treatment and then single going out of treatment and then want to start dating something 30 days outside of treatment, and you're honest with them and say, yeah, I got to rehab 30 days ago, and that person wants to date you, that's probably not
There's
the
your
person
sign.
you want
Right.
to fucking be with.
Yeah.
That was told to me in early recovery. And I was talking to like my sponsor about dating and like
Sure.
hooking up with girls. He's like, do you really want to hook up with a girl that would hook up with you?
Right. No, that's exactly what I mean. That's a great
Absolutely.
point.
That's the truth, though. Like,
Yeah.
no,
So if
I
you take the
don't.
report card and then it's like, okay, well, who is Eric? I just got out of treatment and I meet some stunning female and
Right.
her name is Molly.
Been on a
And, and she takes my report card of no car, no job, living in a halfway house, no money in my pocket. I mean,
On paper, she shouldn't want to date you.
correct.
Right.
Then you-
Correct. I don't think her father's going to be proud.
Right.
Right. So if you evaluate it that way, I mean, come on, let's be honest.
That's a great point. I mean it. There was a time where even in Ashley and I's story that her first marriage ended because I think the douchebag. Should I say that? That's kind of petty. I don't even know the fucking douchebag. Sorry, you shouldn't say that either.
Let us pray.
Yeah.
Let us pray. That wasn't Christian. So she had been down, the relationship with an addict situation. So that didn't play into my favor. And Martha, the elderly, the woman that introduced us, I think about a year before I even asked Ashley out, was like, what do you think about correspondence? She's like, he's way too newly sober. And she said that I'm too young for her because I'm way younger than her. But
Way younger.
Yeah. Wow, she's gonna fuck you up for saying
No,
that.
I'm saying you're saying way younger. I'm making fun
Oh,
of
you're
you.
bad.
Jeff. Good play.
Yeah.
Backpedal there, yeah.
I don't know how old she is. I would put her at your age. I don't know.
She ages well. Some people think
So
I'm
is
older.
that real?
Yeah,
I
she's
would've
6
guessed
years
she's at
older.
least 7 years younger than
6
you.
years older than me, bro. You're just fucking.
Horrible,
You're
dude.
so, bro. This is bullshit. This is
I honestly, real talk, I thought she was at least 5 years younger.
You're so full of shit.
I always thought Ashley was younger too.
Yeah.
Seriously?
She looks so much younger than you.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking pissing me off.
Yeah. She's definitely younger
Yeah.
than you.
You pissed me off.
No, emotionally, you were way younger.
Right,
You were
yeah.
like immature,
decades, yeah.
younger.
I was fucking with her the other day. I was like, you might be 6 years older than me, but I was fucking before you ever did. She's like, that's because I have morals and I'm not a fucking. And she went off on me. So
Did she say fucking?
I said it.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't talk like that.
Yeah.
Really is a phenomenon.
That's
the two
funny.
of us.
After what unfolded Saturday, Molly talked with Angie Isom, our director of admissions, and Molly said a phrase that Angie was like, whoa, never heard Molly talk like that. So that's when Angie knew, like, well, that
Oh,
must have been a
shit.
exhausting day.
Oh,
So-
shit.
But you saying Ashley doesn't talk like that reminded me. A lot of parallels with her and Molly.
Oh, I know. After this, I want to hear what she said. She needs to come on the podcast, too.
Yeah.
That's big time.
Yeah.
Speaking of relationships, let's end on this. Jacob, what'd you do on Saturday, you fucking pussy?
Watch the Blues lose, but no.
At a bar?
My was girlfriend was
Oh.
dumb enough to say yes when I proposed. So,
Yeah. Congratulations,
Nice
Jacob.
job.
Man down.
Congratulations, buddy.
thank you.
So welcome to the table.
Well,
Congratulations.
Fuck it up, but you know.
As long as she doesn't.
Yeah. That's what I told my 9-year-old daughter.
So
Well,
okay,
as Laura don't fuck it up, we're gonna get married here soon.
when did you? So I asked Jacob like leading up to this. I'm like, if you told Annalise, he's like, no, she's got the biggest fucking mouth out there.
Oh, she does. Just spoil it.
So
in a
how'd
second.
she take it?
Oh, she loves. She's super excited.
She was there,
She's
right, Jacob?
No. We had her the next morning.
Gotcha.
But, very excited. She drew like a family portrait.
Oh, wow.
Me,
That's
Laura,
awesome.
and the boys. So
Nice.
she's very happy. She told,
Holding hands.
I don't know. There's hearts.
I just
There you
picture
go.
like the classic kid
Oh,
drawing.
So
of
did you get
holding
down on a
hands,
knee and
you know.
everything?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh,
I don't know
nice.
what the fuck I said. I don't remember
Right.
any of it.
Were you
I must have said the
bullets?
right ending of it because she said yeah, so I ended
Yeah,
it the
right.
right way. But
Were you sweating bullets?
oh yeah, like my buddy Blake Elman said perfectly. It's probably the first time in your life you showed emotions. So
Yeah.
That's funny. Remember
Did you
Mr.
cry?
No Empathy?
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Did you cry?
no,
No, let's not go that far.
He doesn't know how to do
No,
it.
I didn't cry.
Did
I
she?
did. I cried in 2019 when the Blues won the cup.
Okay.
So
too.
tears came out, but no, she did.
And her parents were there?
Yeah, her mom and dad. It was really. Thank you, Pondoff, too.
No,
for
you
helping
don't.
us set that
I'm
up.
not fishing for that.
Yeah, he was, but it was very beautiful. We did an Olive and Oak, which was our first date as well. So really nice there. I don't like attention. Laurel don't like attention. So Olive and Oak let us. They didn't let us. They decorated their whole back room for us. Candles, balloons, had some non-alcoholic champagne. So if you see pictures, it's non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
And had it set up back there. It was. I had to
That
tell you,
back room's
Pondoff.
nice too.
Laurel's gonna be mad. I tell you this and not her, but Brooke, the manager,
Yeah.
she came up and she's like, "Hey, Chris, wanted us to give you a tour. What is the room called? That back
The
room?
atrium?
The atrium. He wants you to see the atrium. He just got new trees for it and wanted you to see them." That is what sold it to Laurel, that it wasn't like nothing surprising was happening. Just Pondoff would want to show new trees. So it was the line that like totally
Wow,
sold it to
that's
her.
weird.
Like not to have any expectations of like a surprise coming up. So
All right.
it was very good. So we went
I
back
got to
there
say, it
again.
was all Brooke. I met with her up
that
there.
Brooke, your sister?
No,
That's what I
the
said too.
she's
Yeah.
one of the managers at O&O. Like a sister, but not that Brooke. She, I was texting with her and the other manager that I'm like, hey, I want to meet. They want to do this, and how do you guys suggest? As you may have experience in this. And Brooke's like, the other manager's named Ryan. She's like, Ryan, fuck off. I got this. So I met her up there, and she came up with this whole thing because originally I was just thinking you were going to do it right at the table in the
Right.
middle of the whole restaurant, which would have gotten applause and all that. But so we gave she's like, ask him which way, and you said without a doubt the atrium.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize they would decorate it the way they did, so that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, they didn't. It was beautiful. It was fantastic.
You think I knew somebody at Olive Oak that would sponsor the podcast? He don't believe in advertising. He said.
Oh,
He said when I pay my fucking house account, maybe I can go there.
yeah.
Wipe that shit and I'll plug you. That's a great idea. You listening, Mark? No. Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What a pair of lovebirds.
Does Pondoff Anonymous want to sponsor my wedding? 'Cause
That's not how it works.
we'll play you like
Fucking
different
eating
songs.
MREs over here. No, the idea is to pump up the viewership and maybe get and help some local businesses out, because I think we're doing a good work.
Absolutely.
We talk about recovery and overall wellness, and I think it could apply to just about anybody listening, and not to this isn't to jerk ourselves off here. This is a real life shit that we're facing every day, and it's fucking deadly. And you say it often, Eric, that the streets are undefeated. So get the fuck off them and get help, because the shit wrecks families. I mean, 2 episodes ago, we were sitting across from a mom that lost a son, her only son, to this, and that the whole world lost out on this kid's life, who all he did was reach his hand back trying to get people help after he got clean. So yeah, it's serious stuff, and I think it's important to talk about and continue to talk about it, and let people know that everybody's got a miracle in them, and they can live theirs out. Just get some help. Jeff, thanks for gathering the questions. Eric, thanks for sitting in as always, man.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Absolutely.
You bring some credibility to the table. I'm just kidding, Jacob.
I wasn't listening. I was looking at work text.
Of course. So we'll do it again. We got Cam coming up next, and then hopefully pretty soon get we ran into some clients, ex alumni today that have some fucking awesome stories.
Yeah.
So we got a lot coming up. It's gonna be fun, and maybe at some point we'll go to more than once a week. But let's not get ahead of our skis yet. Jeff's ready.
Man, well, maybe once we get those people sponsoring us.
There you go, baby. Okay, well, for everybody, thank you. Pondoff episode 14. Thanks again for being here. Good stuff. And let's pray.